Hello, my beautiful feminine ladies. So today, before I get to the video, I actually want to share some really exciting news. One of my students and clients just got engaged, and I am just about to squeal with excitement. And it happens quite a bit when my clients or my students get engaged, but every time I get this good news, I can't contain myself, so I need to share it. So this woman, she is in her late 20s, and she's been through a lot in her life, and she is one of these women who made up her mind that she wants change. She is working on a lot of different things. She's working on her master's program. She's an artist, and she's working on her visa because she's here in the United States on a student visa. So long story short, she got things that she needed to get things done. So she got some therapy done, and then she got some coaching with me. She has my high-end woman program, rotational dating program. And so she got what she needed in order to get her thing, what she wants accomplished. So now she's engaged, and she sent me a beautiful picture of her ring. And the man is amazing. So she's an artist, so he actually is artistic too. So they have a lot in common. And now, he's buying a house. So the whole thing is just amazing. It's just amazing. So I wanted to share it here because this is a sisterhood, right? We are celebrating for each other. So now I can get to the video, but I'm just so overjoyed. So today, this is the second video in a series of how to be a feminine woman in business. And today I want to talk about the value of your employees, the value of your staff, and what actually comes first. Do your clients come first or your employees come first? And just the name employee, like I don't use it in my business. I call my employees a team because I feel like they're not my employees. They're not just my staff. These are people who help me carry each day, even when I'm not there, right? Because I'm managing my business. I'm a CEO of my business. So even if I'm not there, but my team is there, making sure from morning till close that things are taken care of. So it's almost like if it was a team sport, like in football or in soccer, whatever, it's not a one-person show. It's not a one-person show. It's a team effort. And I feel like a lot of in the masculine business and in the masculine paradigm, the idea is that there's one star. There's one, like the head of the company or the owner or whoever it is. And then that is the person. Without that person, nothing can, go anywhere. Nothing can move. It's almost like a bottleneck in the business. And especially with the masculine paradigm for men and some women who run it from a masculine paradigm, this is a problem because a lot of it comes from ego, let's just be honest, but you can't really put yourself as a bottleneck of your business when nothing can move, and you just have this egomania, and you think that without you nothing can go, and all the decisions have to come from you, and nobody can sneeze without you knowing about it. So that's a mistake. And empowering your team to actually take initiative, to take leadership is super important. But coming to what is key, what is more important to you as a feminine woman, what is more important, the clients or your team? And in the masculine paradigm, the client is always more important. The client will always be more important, to the detriment of employees. So employees kind of have to, almost take any bad treatment from clients, or, not being treated very nicely, very respectfully. And this is just something that the business owner or manager just closes their eyes at, kind of thinking that this is pretty much the necessary evil. But in a feminine business, you can't really do that, because creating safety for your team, creating safety and creating the environment and the culture of being safe in the workplace. And especially it's important for women in the workplace, because we don't feel safe pretty much every day. We are triggered. We have a different psychology than men do. And we feel unsafe in a lot of different scenarios that a man would feel safe in. So, for example, at a workplace, a man would not even be triggered or be upset about somebody, like looking at them funny or making a slight comment, but a woman would notice it. Why? Because we've been trained over centuries to notice these little things. Right? To notice these little things. Because why? Because our life depended on it. Our survival depended on it. So we are really focused on even small things. We're reading people's micro impressions much better than men do. We're reading the tone of voice. We're reading, even into pauses between words. So we are very in tune as women to these little nuances. And for a man, they wouldn't even notice it, but woman's nervous system is much lighter. So if at a workplace there is something negative going on, whether it's coming in from within, right? If there's someone who is creating trouble, who is creating drama, it will affect your team a lot. Or if it is coming from your outside source. So if a client, let's say, is being really disrespectful or just plain mean, it does happen, that's will affect your team, especially if they're women. And it's a job of a feminine business owner to be in tune with these things. So masculine paradigm and masculine business owners, they just basically tell their team to suck it up, don't be a wimp, don't complain. That is the core values in the company, right? This is the underlying current, that basically it's part of the job to take whatever treatment and not to be a complainer, not to be a wuss, not to be not to do those things. But in the feminine paradigm, it is super important to have your team be at ease, so that when they come to work, that's a safe environment for them. They know that whoever the manager is or the owner is, they have their back. It is huge. It makes all the difference in the world. Women who don't feel safe at a workplace are, first of all, much more likely to quit. They're much more likely to have all sorts of health issues. But it's dissatisfaction with work. So you name it, they will have it. And a lot of times with masculine managers or business owners, staff turnover is a real issue. And especially it's been like this in the last 2 years after the pandemic, when people would just quit, and they didn't even want to work, and it's just extremely difficult. And for business owners out there, you guys know what I'm talking about. Like it's just been extremely difficult. So now is when it becomes super important, retention, right? Retention of your employees, retention of people that you've invested in, you've trained. So keeping those people, and how you keep those people, a lot of times, again, the masculine paradigm would throw money at people, right? Throw money, throw bonuses. And yes, it does work to a certain extent, but if your team member, if a woman doesn't feel safe, and it applies to certain men as well, but if a woman doesn't feel safe, doesn't feel comfortable, she doesn't feel at ease coming to work, no amount of money is going to keep her there, because it's just going to be draining on her so much that she will not be able to actually stay there, no matter how much you pay her. I've had an example in my business where one of my supervisors of the department, she started well, and I hired her and I trained her, and she was totally fine. And then I hired more people that she had to train in turn. And so what I've noticed is that she was becoming impatient with them. She was becoming really snappy. She would like snap at them. She would sometimes not even talk to them. When they would ask her questions, she would just turn around and leave. And that affects women a lot. So when it was brought to my attention, I had to immediately nip that in the bud. And I had several conversations with her trying to address the issue. And I gave her chances to address it. Unfortunately, she couldn't. So eventually I just had to part ways with that woman. But I've just noticed the effect that it was having on women in my business. Because women notice all these little things, all these snappy remarks, or or not talking to them, or like all these things that men might have not noticed, be like, well, maybe he's having a bad day or whatever. But women notice these things, right? And they need to feel safe. They need to also feel safe that they can come to you as a business owner and lay these things on the table, and you're not going to be, you will be understanding of that. And that's a feminine paradigm, right? You're not going to be like a masculine paradigm manager or business owner when you would say, what do you mean? Like she didn't, talk to you. She didn't want to, like she didn't answer you. We'll ask her again. Like, they would just not pay attention to it. And then eventually what will happen is that person would quit. That person would quit because they would be really unhappy and then would eventually quit. So, and actually in the situation that I just mentioned, the women who had that supervisor who were not nice to them, they said after the fact that like, yeah, if you didn't get her out, we would have probably quit, because it really, like, they weren't happy coming to work. It would bother them, and usually the motto of my team and the vibration of my team is really high. So everyone is happy, everyone is talking to each other. But when something like that happens, I just notice how everything just goes down. Like the vibe goes down. People are not talking to each other. People are not laughing because, they just don't feel safe. And for women, feeling safe is huge. So just creating the environment where people feel safe is going to set you apart from any masculine business where that business would not pay attention to their safety. Because for women, feeling safe, feeling seen, feeling that they can share their feelings and they will be heard, that is huge, and it always will be. This is in our DNA. This is not something that's just going to go away. So making women feel safe at your business is always going to be huge. And when they talk to, because people talk, when they talk to their friends, when they talk to their acquaintances, and they will tell them that, other people don't even believe it, to what extent I have my employees, my team's back. And then they appreciate, they're like, oh my gosh, she really like has our back. And that goes to even with clients, right? With clients, just putting a stop to it, because no client is worth to me losing an employee, losing someone that I've trained, and not just, the resources that I spend training that person and bringing that person and onboarding this person. But, we're all humans, right? It's not robots. They're not robots. People who work for me, they're my family at this point, right? So, and the fact that they come to work, they spend time, they put their effort, it's important. So a client, to me, a single client, is nearly not important as someone that is part of my team. So, and they know that, they appreciate that, and they understand the difference, because this model is very rare. Most of the time, the model is completely different. Even the saying, the client is always right? It's a saying, the client is always right, but I don't think that the client is always right. I think it's really case by case, and knowing your team and knowing and really having your finger on the pulse of just the whole vibe of a place, and knowing, you know, who said what and why, and then dealing with it adequately and timely is huge. So this is what I wanted to share today. Again, super excited about the my client who just got engaged. So I'm going to be chatting with her in a couple of days. But ladies, have a great rest of your day, and I will talk to you soon.